To get started, click on the icon. That's the shortcut for the DAVinCI Flight program. That'll bring up a window, which give you a couple options before you press start. So you'll want to change a couple. It looks like this, a little bit bigger. The first thing you want to do is to change your screen size and resolution. You'll get a bunch of options. You'll probably want to select the one that's farthest down. That'll make sure that it fits perfectly in your screen. You can kind of see a little better in this view. And do not select the windowed option unless you want to. Second thing you want to do is to probably set the speed. Typically, a fast or good should be enough on a Mac, but if it's particularly slow, just select fastest, and that should allow it to run a little bit faster. Finally, you should be ready to go. Just hit the play button, and you'll be in the game. Pressing start causes an animation to happen that brings you into the start screen menu. When you first get in, there'll be a quick start menu. You can read through it. It provides you some information. If you don't want to see it again, just click the little radio button in the corner, I don't want to see it again, and say okay, thanks. Then there are different options here. Each of the buttons is animated. When you mouse over it, it will pop out and give you various other options. There's a button for settings where you can choose if you want to use a joystick or not. There's an about button. This tells you the version, the license number, all that good stuff. There's an exit button if you wanted to quit at this point, so you could. There's also a local game button. That's the one that we're going to choose. So choose that one and press play. That now brings you into the lab. Again, there's another quick start menu. You can read through it. It tells you more information about how to walk around and how to access things. The most important thing to read in here, or to at least learn how to do, is probably to use the escape menu. So at any point in the lab, you can click escape or hit escape on your keyboard, and it will bring you to a menu that you can use to navigate around. It looks like this. There's a map with different options for porting you to the various places in the game. So you would click the map locations and it takes you there. The design room is one of the locations that we're going to now in this one. So each of these places you can do a certain task related to the design. Another thing you can do inside the escape menu is select a new mission. In this one, we're doing the default mission, but we probably want to switch that to the design mission for a glider. So just click on it and then hit press play selected mission. Again, you can change the settings. Other things are badges. When you get them, they'll just be displayed here. There's a help menu that has different options and the yellow buttons on the left. So clicking on any of these things lets you read about the topics and helps you understand some of the controls for the game and the vehicle. So this one sort of lists those. Talks about the escape menu itself, which if you're in here, you obviously understand a little bit. Talks about each of the rooms, what they're named, how you get to them, that kind of thing. To navigate around in the environment, you can use the trackpad or mouse to point left or right. That just turns your direction up or down on the trackpad, makes you look up or down. W moves you forward, S moves you backward, A moves you side left, D moves you side right. And these controls only apply when you're in the lab. The joystick will not actually function to control you while you're in the lab environment. You'll have to use the keyboard controls. When you walk up to stuff, you can press an interaction button, usually E, to enter into an interface or do some activity. Alternately, as we said before, you can use the escape menu to go from place to place. So one of the first things we'll do is we'll go to the design room. In the design room, the first thing that pops up is a big diagram, and it's a lot to see all at once. But the important thing to do is this is how you build a model of your craft. Up in the right-hand corner, I'm circling around it right now, is a minimize button, and that's probably the first thing you'll want to do is minimize it. You'll notice there's a glider behind when you do that. You'll also notice on the right there are different tabs for warnings, inputs, where you have all these sliders. You can change them. They do things to your vehicle. You notice that. All sorts of sliders. Lots of things to explore here. And these are things you get to choose when you build your own diagram. And then there's the results. The different things in here now are lift, drag, and lift over drag, which we're going to learn is an important thing for your design. When you're done changing a slider, you can hit set and then hit this analyze button, and it will change the result. All those will be updated after you hit the analyze button. When you're done, you got a design you like, you can hit save. It'll bring up a window. You can either use the name that comes up, that's totally fine, or you can change it to one of your own names. I'm just going to change it here to a new glider name. Hit save, and now I've created a save file and something I can fly in the simulator. When I want to go back, I hit this button that looks like an exit door, and it takes me back to the lab. I can look at the prototype I just generated by walking up to this prototype station. It'll have a little menu that I can click E on the keyboard and then select my glider. And now I can see what my glider looks like with all the fancy materials and the lighting and stuff like that. That also, when you do this, selects it for flying. The flight station, like all of these, the prototype station and the larger prototype station behind it, all pop up when you walk up to this design terminal station, and they disappear when you walk away. Here's the flight station. You can either walk up to it and press E to go into it, or use the escape menu again. It'll ask you if you want to do it, collect new data, as you may have already had some data for a flight. It'll overwrite that every time. It loads up your plane, it loads up the flight course, a lot of the challenges, and then you can press launch or hit enter or press the fire key on your joystick if you have one. It'll be flying your craft now in the flight simulator environment. The controls are, you can press 1, 2, 3, and 4 to activate the different UIs below. 4 changes the view automatically from sort of a first-person view like this is, like a drone view, to a trailing view. 2 and 3 bring up these menus that you see to the left and right. Pressing W and S causes you to pitch up and pitch down, so you can control how your aircraft is moving up and down. D and A cause you to roll right and roll left accordingly. And pressing Q and E, there's a new set of controls the rudder. The rudder lets you kind of slip to the side or slip to the other side. Here I've pressed 4 and I'm looking at a chase view. It's showing some forces on my glider in this mission. Something else you might notice are there are various objects down there, rings and towers, and those are for interacting. If you fly through them or near them, they will trigger and give you a score, or they might be part of the mission. You might need to collect 4 or 5 of them. In addition, there's also an escape menu in this UI. You can change settings related to how the plane flies. There's a help button that'll be filled with something soon. There's a current mission info. There's badges you might have achieved. And 2 new things that you wouldn't necessarily see outside of this level is the end the flight to go back to the lab and the quit. You want to go back to the lab 90% of the time. Quit will actually quit the game and you'll lose all your stuff. And I think that's a good demo for today. Thank you. And that should be enough to get you started.